Hi, this is Robert Kiyosaki, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. This is the most important thing you can listen to today.
He's the one.
I have a dream.
With great power comes great responsibility.
I could do this all day.
This is it. Don't get scared now.
They may take our lives, but they'll never take our freedom.
Cinderella story out of nowhere.
It's in the hole. That the only thing we have to fear is fear itself.
Capital Hacking begins in 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back to the big show. Dang, I forgot to do the tomahawk. Well, it's probably because it's Thanksgiving Day, right, John? So I couldn't tomahawk because we're eating turkey today.
I think that tryptophan is taking effect on your body, Josh. We didn't come in with the welcome back, but we're still going to bring that fire, guys.
Well, it's a great little show to say thank you to John, my beloved friend and co-host here, but also you, the tremendous listeners and community that have backed hundreds and hundreds of thousands of downloads for this show, have been loyal for 400 episodes, or maybe you joined us this week. God bless you. But I'm excited about all that, John, and I just wanted to share a little bit of gratitude. So maybe if you could share a few things that are going on in your life and how God's blessing you and how you're grateful for this beautiful country we get to live in, and some Thanksgiving cheer.
Yeah, isn't it such a blessing? One of the things that I'm incredibly grateful for, and here's a cool story about leading with value. When I first joined GoBundance, that Josh and I are a part of 8 years ago, within a couple months I started leading the Philadelphia chapter, which is where the area that we live in, and I kind of had that imposter syndrome when I started leading that chapter, because I felt that I was the dumbest and the poorest guy in the room, but I still led with just my heart and gave it everything I could. And then I started kind of overseeing the tri-state area, and then I started overseeing the DMV, and I did everything, at no charge. I was just doing it because I wanted to add value to the members and the guys, and I wanted to lean into their families and their marriages and being a dad, and how are you showing up, not just in business, but in your home life. And about 6 months ago, Matt King, who's the CEO, asked me to oversee the entire East Coast. So I've been overseeing, as the regional leader, the entire East Coast for GoBundance. And it's been amazing. There's a little over 400. There's probably about 430 members under my leadership, and 22 chapters. And I'm able to really have a massive impact in the world with these influential guys. So it's cool to be a leader of leader, but my what I'm trying to convey is, whenever you lead with value, all of your goals get achieved in the process.
Hey everybody, it's Robert Helms, host of the Real Estate Guys radio program. And when you're not listening to our show, make sure you're tuned to Capital Hacking. You're going to dig it.
Yeah, and let's go back and remind those listeners who jumped in today. I mean, what is GoBundance? It's this interesting concept that actually is the paradigm for capital hacking for me. Was, what if you could be in the room, which is kind of GoBundance creates rooms, spaces, and a community where people are at different levels of success as an entrepreneur or as an investor. And it is meant for those people that have actually built a business or built a nest egg of success. And then they're like, what more was I called to do? It's kind of this constantly asking, what more do I not yet know, but could I incorporate into my life, and how could I add more value? And John is, as an outsider here, watching John for 7-8 years now, is probably the most contributive member of the entire. And how big is it? It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of men nationwide, right?
Yeah. We're about 900 members now.
Yeah.
We're into other countries. It's growing constantly organically because guys are referring their friends who are business owners, CEOs, entrepreneurs. And, it's been an amazing ride to watch. And Josh, you've been such a vital part of GoBundance, especially in our region. We do all of our events at Renault Winery. We're doing the Christmas party at LBI National. And, your resorts have been pivotal for this success.
Well, they're physical. They're like a physical representation of what GoBundance is. First of all, so many of us collaborated and built these things. I mean, okay, so what do I mean by capital hacking? I'm saying, like, when we started this podcast, and John, you've been a massive component to this the growth of the podcast. It was an idea to put the same conversations you and I have, John, behind closed doors with groups in private membership communities out to the masses, because it's this idea of reflection and action, discussion and action, discussion and deciding to do hard things on purpose. All of these kinds of things mixed together are what I guess is what people could call a mastermind. And you're a role model for probably the entire community, but you're definitely a role model for 400 of us. And I have watched you go from, by the way, guys, picture this, folks, if you're listening to this, picture a bunch of business owners that, what does it take to be a business owner? You have to manage everything from teammates to capital placement, to the business having an emergency today, to growing, 100 different things. And John's trying to get them into a meeting each month. John, that was your first value, is somehow you figured out how to get the most of us, of the entire country, the most of us get in one room because of your leadership back in the day. It was painful, I imagine, trying to get a bunch of us in the same room.
It's I always use the example. It's like herding cats. My wife calls me a sheep.
Absolutely. A sheepdog. Because here's how John does it, in case you have to do this. He'll be like, send out a message to all of us. Then he'll say who responds. He'll say, good, I want to get you there. Calling you on, brother. I'm calling you on, calling you up. Then the person who doesn't respond, he'll text that person and say, hey, haven't heard from you. Let me call you right now. Then he'll call you right now. Then you don't get the answer. So then he calls you and he texts you and says, I'll call you back tomorrow. Then he says, I'll call you tonight. And it's like unfathomable amount of communication that you manage, John. It made me think that you could run any company in the world. Now, before I get to say my thanks, can you share what happened? Again, like being in Capital Hacking's community, all of you wonderful members listening, you're welcome to come and be with us. We do those in-person things called Learn and Grows. But John, how did your mindset change? Because you're a great case study like me over those 8 years. What has changed in your business life and your mindset from being part of and adding so much value?
Yeah, I've just become such of a bigger thinker throughout these years. And, when I first started in GoBundance, I had my boxing and MMA facility. I was doing all the fitness stuff, and it was fantastic because I was able to make an impact one-on-one with people. But what I realized was I was trading my time for money. Even though I was making really great money, I got to a place where I could scale the real estate business, but then also make a larger impact in the world. And impact has kind of been the theme of my life over the last few years. So, as my kids have gotten older, my wife and I are almost to the empty nester. Christopher Lochhead said it best. I was at a mastermind with GoBundance 6 years ago in Austin, and Christopher Lochhead was speaking, and he said, when you get to the top of the mountain, throw down the rope and help others. And that really made an impact on me when I heard him say that 6 years ago. So that's kind of been my goal.
And what's it like watching the transformations of hundreds of other dudes' lives, without using names unless it's public information? What have you seen the impact of being in a community, sharing bigger ideas, challenging each other? Like, what's one or two great stories? Because you've had a catbird seat, you've watched so much.
Yeah. Being a part of GoBundance, it's a men's mastermind, and we have a whole lot of fun, and we do talk business, but we support each other and can have those vulnerable conversations, because so many entrepreneurs that are successful, they've gone broke multiple times. They've lost their business. And it's just, walking arm in arm with guys that are, in a tough spot, and it's given creative ideas, and then watching them come out of that rut and helping them scale their businesses. And not just that, but, I can tell you so many marriages have been saved. Conversations that guys are like, hey, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. And other men just come alongside of them like, dude, I will walk with you over the next few months. Let's set some small goals and let's start working on and leaning into those hard things.
Hi, this is Melanie McCallen. Josh and I are just so grateful for the many investors who have already joined us at Accountable Equity. Accountable Equity is so much more than a capital group. It's really a community of accredited investors that want to learn and grow together. I just want to personally invite you, if you want to find out more about this type of investment and see if it's right for you and your family, please visit us at accountableequity.com.
Hey, it's Hal Elrod, author of The Miracle Morning, and you're listening to Capital Hacking. Enjoy.
Well, it's probably my turn, John. You've done the lion's share of thanking God and being grateful for all the gifts you've been given here in this country. But For us at Thanksgiving, last night was a great example. I got to read to my little dude. So I have a 5-year-old, almost 6-year-old in a few months, actually 3 months. But so I kind of get to not be an empty nester for a long time for good. And so anyway, he and I are doing the bedtime reading books right now, which I haven't always had to do. He's always had a sister that wanted to do it, but I get to do it now. And so we read Dr. Seuss last night, Oh, the Places You Will Go, which I've seen on the bookshelf of very successful entrepreneurs in the past. As a matter of fact, my key mentor, the family office I helped build the first resort business with, used to have this book on his bookshelf with all the best books, right? The Dale Carnegie books, Agmundino books, all the great. And then it was Dr. Seuss. And so I got to read it last night knowing how powerful that book is. Have you read that one yet, John? The Places You'll Go?
I have, but it's been a really long time.
Well, I know. Well, it's like the swirly line. Well, which book by Dr. Seuss doesn't have crazy swirly lines? But it's like you will, it basically is trying to work on the ego and the confidence of the children by saying the places you'll go and you are the steerer of your own life. My little dude, 5 years old, because it talks about steering your own life. And I thought to myself, that's a crazy concept because the dude doesn't drive cars. And I'm not sure if he's even following this phraseology. And he goes, Dad, you know what that means? I said, what? He goes, it means you get to control where you go in places. And I'm like, dude, I was like, what? He's like, yeah, you steer it. And he goes, Dad, like you steer it. And I'm like, oh, he actually gets what this book's getting at. That was powerful. And then it gets into this whole part. There's a part where they're flying balloons and going high. And you're like, you'll be the best at this. You'll be great at this. It's like you and I coaching our kids, John. Like, get out there. You're going to win this. You're going to win this. And you're going to talk about winning. Then the next page says, you will get hung up. You will be deflated. You will fail. And you will not be the best at some things. And then it talks about how to get out of that and why you should continue to fight and grow. Dude, I was so pumped up that he was getting it, I have to admit. So fatherhood over the last this year in particular, has been a new resurgence of focus. Like in a way, you and I know we have kids for years now. You're always a father. You're thinking, oh, I'm going to be at this game tonight. I'm going to do what I'm supposed to do. I come home, like if I'm supposed to do some homework. But this year, somehow, a little bit of grace, I've been able to see the impact that I'm definitely called to. Like, look, we have a lot of things we're both called to, but right now it's that little dude who's 5. And I worry about those ones at the end, of the big family because they can sneak around. They become like master sneaky dudes. And I'm like, he's a sneaky little SOB. He kind of is. And I'm like, that's because everybody's just like letting him get away with it. And I want to pour into him a little bit. And then my daughters, much more focused on sports this year. My son made this is a major Thanksgiving. My son, who's a high school guy, has great passion and tenacity, does practice every day for basketball, but was hitting that threshold or that ceiling and not making the best teams. And it was just destroying his ego, just destroying it. So I definitely, Melanie and I, like the whole weekend of tryouts, I was like praying for him to at least get on the team, just get on the ladder.
Hey guys, it's John Vroman, founder of Front Row Dads, and you're listening to Capital Hacking, the best investment you'll make today.
And now I could learn a lot from you. I'm trying to figure out how to keep him extremely focused on making sure he outperforms at practice. Then he outperforms getting on the court. And I'm like, dude, I think if you're going to be a point guard, you got to overly commit to ball handling. And of course, that's not his favorite. He's a pretty damn good shooter, so he likes to practice shooting. I'm like, yeah, but I kind of don't think you're going to get on the court unless you're a go-to ball handler. Because you got to fight every day. 40 dudes went out for this team. 40 dudes went out for a basketball team, all good. And you're like, that's hard to get on a team. So I'm real focused on that right now, and I'm somehow connected to it emotionally, which normally I'm more like just doing the motions, and I'm trying to do what I thought I was supposed to do. But now, thank God, I feel connected to it. And then the last immediate recent thing was, this is personal again before business, is prayer. You know what I mean? Prayer has become it's a super slow journey in case you guys are on this path or not on this path yet. Again, keeping myself structured to some degree in prayer, always have. Keeping myself connected emotionally to prayer comes and goes. And I've been cutting things out, like cutting out even social drinking and stuff like that. Just cutting things out so I could be more present. And so I'm really grateful that I feel like that's been a big change, and super present to prayer right now, wanting to do more like songs and praise and looking for opportunities. I'll have to join you at one of your events, John. So those are my big thank yous to God for right now, and thank God, Thanksgiving for being allowed to be this way in this country. And the last one is you and I've talked about this dude Brett Harmeling, who's joined forces with us. So it opened our eyes. So if you haven't listened to one of the past shows, we did a show with Brett. This guy, actually, John and I did a show, and then Brett and I did a show. And we talked all about wellness and wholeness in hospitality. And boy, he came at the right time, John, because I'm telling you right now, everything on the internet is moving towards the next wave of luxury travel is wellness. Look, maybe it's been there for a while, but it's hitting a crescendo. Blackstone's getting involved, all the big wealth generators, all the capital they're getting involved at their level. And we're getting involved at our level. And it was helpful to have a catalyst like a guy who cares about that stuff, who's been thinking about it, studying it for 10 plus years. And of course, I've been around you and you know a lot. I can't even absorb half the stuff you and Brett talk about, but I know you're both right. And so incorporating that into our spa that just opened, we're going to be attracting these large scale picture detox retreats, mega dollars, bringing in influencers to run it. And we're going to do it like on a pattern. You could see how that would transform the revenue models for the operational businesses. And you could see how that can kind of color the resort business we're in, John. Because you and I know we have 1,000 acres. Let's do things in the woods. Let's do things on the water. Let's let these artists figure out how to use our natural environments plus our spas and put it all together into something that could be bought by successful people. You know what I mean?
Love that.
So big thank you for that, growing and growing each day. And you should see the audiences we're getting, John, like people that want to hear what's going on. And you're like, okay, so they're big capital partners sometimes, they're innovators sometimes, they're technologists sometimes. And it's just like, you've been with me for all these years grinding and building a great business. What if we could take the great business we've been building and add a whole new vertical on it without having to build another building? It's exciting.
Love that.
That's what we're grateful for, folks. Boom! Drop the mic.
Happy Thanksgiving, guys. Happy
Thanksgiving.
Wishing you and your family many blessings during these holidays and also going into 2026.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Damn straight. We just got
buddy.
We got to the end of another great show. And everyone listening right now, you're the family and friends. Thanks for staying till the end.
That was so fun. And hey, hit the like, hit subscribe. We're here to serve you guys. That's why we're doing this show. Josh is not paying me. I'm doing this off of my quote unquote sweat equity because we want to make a difference in your life. And then that ripple effect will continue to touch the world.
Hey, amen, brother. Please check us out on capitalhacking.com, all the social media threads. And yes, I know you've probably already sent this episode to one of your best friends. Thank you. We love you. Just go right into your iPhone, hit the plus symbol. We'll talk to you later. See you next week.
Share.